if you're on Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro, up to 40% of the weight that you're losing might not be fat. It might actually be muscle. And that means a slower metabolism, less energy, and a body that's actually harder to maintain long term. Researchers are calling this the GLP muscle trap. In this video, I'm breaking down the exact protein strategy backed by research from major medical researchers to help you stay strong, protect your metabolism, and avoid that skinny fat trap while the medication does its job. No scare tactics, no anti-medication agenda. These drugs are genuinely transformative, but the medication handles appetite, you still have to handle your nutrition. You already know how the medication works. It suppresses your appetite, you eat less, you lose weight. The results are real. 15 to 21% body fat lost in major trials. But the question is, what are you actually losing? There was a major meta-analysis published in 2024 that looked at 22 research studies. They were controlled trials with over 2,200 participants. This analysis found that around 25% of the weight lost by people on GLP-1s actually came from muscle. So not fat, lean mass. So if you've lost 40 pounds, about 10 of those pounds may have been muscle. And in some studies, the muscle loss is as high as 40 or 60%. Now, researchers have pointed out that some of this muscle loss is adaptive. The smaller you are, the less muscle you need. That's true. But a study presented at Endo 2025 found that women and older adults are especially at risk of losing muscle on GLP-1s. And the researchers said specifically that higher protein intake is one of the best things to do to protect against this. So all of this is not a reason to avoid the medication. It's a reason to have a strategy. Okay, so you're losing weight. That's a great thing. Why should you care if you're losing muscle? There are actually 4 reasons why you should care. 1, your metabolism. Muscles burn calories at rest. If you lose muscle, your resting metabolic rate drops. This is exactly how people end up regaining the weight, even when they're still on the medication, to be clear. 2, the skinny fat problem. You lose 40 pounds on the scale, but you've lost a lot of the tissue that gives your body its shape and its strength. So you may end up with a higher body fat percentage and just a different look than you had expected you would get. 3, functional strength. Muscle mass is actually one of the strongest predictors of how well you age. Your ability to get off the floor, go up a flight of stairs, carry groceries. That's all muscle. So if you're losing this muscle in your 30s, 40s, 50s, this is a trade-off that is going to cost you later. 4, blood sugar. And this is ironic. So a lot of people take these medications specifically for blood sugar control. But it turns out that skeletal muscle is the largest site in your body for glucose uptake. Less muscle means less capacity to process glucose. So you could actually be undermining the drug's long-term benefits. The scale going down is not enough. What you're losing exactly matters just as much as how much you're losing. All right, let's talk solutions, because the single biggest lever you have is your protein intake. Now, the standard RDA, recommended daily allowance for protein, is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, but this is a minimum. This is not for someone who is actively losing weight on a GLP-1. There was a joint advisory published in 2025. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine, the American Society of Nutrition, the Obesity Medical Association, and the Obesity Society. They all actually recommended 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight if you are on these medications. For a 170-pound person, that is 92 to 123 grams of protein a day. The RDA would say 62, so that's a huge difference. Now, here's the trap within the trap. GLP-1s suppress your appetite. So that's literally how they work. You're eating less, you're eating way less in a lot of cases. Some people are barely eating 1,000 calories a day. So when you're eating that little food, hitting 100 grams of protein a day is really hard. A study of people on GLP-1s in 2025 found that most people were getting only about 18.5% of their calories from protein, which they said is inadequate for the GLP-1 population. So that's the trap. What does solving this look like? You roughly need about 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal spread out across the day. 3 meals a day at 35 grams a meal puts you at 105 grams a day. That's the protective range. This means that protein density really matters, because when your appetite is small, every bite has to count. So compare that to what most people eat when they're trying to be healthy. 3 meals like that, and you're literally eating only 32 grams of protein a day. And on a GLP-1, you might not even finish those portions. And think about food quality, not just macros. Salmon, wild salmon, is going to give you omega-3s, not just protein. Grass-fed beef is going to give you iron, zinc, B12. Real food with intention supports the entire system, not just that protein number. Okay, here is your muscle preservation checklist. 1. Know your protein target. It's your body weight in kilograms times 1.2 to 1.6. For most people, that's 100 to 140 grams of protein a day. 2. Hit at least 30 grams of protein in every meal. Don't save it for dinner. Front end load it. Protein needs to be the centerpiece of every meal, including breakfast. 3. You need to choose protein-dense whole foods. Wild fish, pastured chicken, grass-fed beef. Not protein bars, not grain bowls that only have 12 grams of protein. Real food, weighed and measured. 4. Resistance train at least 3 times a week. This is a non-negotiable. There was a study in 2025 that showed that patients on GLP-1s who strength trained 3 times a week not only didn't necessarily lose muscle, some of them even were able to gain muscle while on the medication. So you can be on the same medication and have a totally different outcome. 5. Track your body composition, not just your weight. The scale doesn't tell you whether you're losing muscle and fat, so get a DEXA scan, which will tell you how much of the weight you're losing is fat or muscle. So let me tell you what I'd do if I were starting a GLP-1 tomorrow. The biggest problem I'm seeing is that people are starting these medications with zero nutritional infrastructure. The doctor writes the prescription, they fill it, and then they wing it when it comes to their food. Takeout here, a protein shake there, skipping meals because nothing sounds good. 3 months later, they've lost 20 pounds and their arms are skinnier, but they feel tired. What you actually need is a system. Meals built around 35 grams of protein from whole foods. Portioned so that you can actually finish them when your appetite is small. And also formulated to minimize the issues that GLP-1 users often deal with. That's what our sustain program is. Every meal is weighed to the gram and macro balanced to ensure you're getting 100 to 140 grams of protein a day. No gluten, no refined sugar, no seed oils. Chef crafted, rotating weekly, delivered in glass jars. You can also meal prep and work with a dietitian. There are lots of ways to solve this, but if you want it handled, that's what we built for, and there's a link in the description. Whether you use us or not, hit your protein target, strength train, and look beyond just the number on the scale. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Drop questions in the comments because I read every single one.